Oh, yeah. Well, a dog gets himself lost, but then reports himself missing to police. He actually, ran away from home. He went into the local police station, went up to the counter, and turned himself in.
Well, oh boy! So he went in there and said, "Hey, I'm lost. Can you call my owners?" Jeez, that is amazing, though, that the dog had the intuitive to do that.
I don't know. Maybe he just was warm wanted to get warm and get fed. Yeah. A pony was rescued from a 12-foot deep sinkhole.
Oh wow! That's another thing. These sinkholes, Gary. Especially in the Kentucky, Tennessee area, and Florida's sinkhole state. These sinkholes, they're no joke, man. You could be just sitting there, next thing you know, you're gone. There was a guy in Florida, man. His brother lived in the end of the house. They heard a big rumbling, like train crashing noises, and the whole bedroom was gone, and he died.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that has happened. There was a case about a year ago where a guy went out his back porch and took a step out to go to his car. And he fell into the sinkhole and drowned because the sinkhole opened up and filled up with water.
Yeah. And, speaking of sinkholes in Kentucky, the years ago, I forget how many years ago it was, I think it was in the 90s or early 2000s, but the Corvette company, where they had classic Corvettes in there, it fit big sinkhole, and they lost a lot of Corvettes down that sinkhole.
Yeah, that would be, horrible to lose Corvettes, especially some of the ones that are very rare. Well, remember about a week ago, I was talking about the Japanese guy celebrating his 111th birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he won't do 112. He just passed on 2 days ago.
Oh, that's too bad. That's too bad.
But he still, you know what? He made it to 111. He had his cake, and he got to eat it, too. How many people can say that they can live to 111 years old? Now, you know what? He just didn't make it past a week past it.
Yeah, and I think he was from Japan, and I'm kind of wondering. I hope he didn't get that coronavirus that's going around.
Now, you know what? You didn't say on the news. It's just been reported here. The governor of Oregon announced they got their first case of it in Oregon now.
Uh-oh. Nope, I didn't catch that one yet.
Yeah, that's just been announced here a couple hours ago. This, we have a president that says it's no more than a cold. Don't touch handrails and then touch your face. Well, then, you know who Bill Gates is. He's the one that founded, with his cohort, Microsoft.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. He's said today, he said, this is going to be a pandemic. The one I've been saying it was going to happen. The one that happens about every 100 years. This is going to be it. It's serious. Doctors are speaking up now like mad everywhere, saying that this could go to a major pandemic really, really fast. And everybody, even in the center of drug is upset because what the president said the other night. And I know he was trying to keep the stock market from tanking, but what he said caused it to even tank more. Today, the stock market took a big hit. The reason why, people are panicking now.
Yeah. And you know what else is going to make things kind of into the mix? The pets now, the dog, they think it might be. They don't know. They're still kind of testing to confirm it. But that's another thing. And there's pictures all over the place. They've got muzzle, like something over the dog's snouts now. So that's another thing that we got to look out for.
Yeah, Center of Disease said that this can go to your animals. So it's not just dogs. It can affect cats, whatever pet you have. It can, spread from human to your pet. And that is scary. And yes, for a lot of people, it's not much more than a bad cold that maybe could turn into the flu. But when you get to be either one, you're young, up to, being a young kid, all the way up to your early 20s, or older, senior citizen like me. Those two age groups, you really have to worry the most. Because, I mean, if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't get medical attention, you're not going to make it to your next birthday. And the thing is, they just keep, certain people, the politicians, are, just brushing it off because they don't want to cause a panic. But you know what? I think it'd be a lot more better if the politicians would just come out and tell the truth.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think there's, like you say, they have ulterior motives. They're afraid people panic and the stock would drop and everything else.
Well, the stock has dropped. Have you noticed the stock market 3 days in a row has been tanking because they're worried? Because you know what is going to happen. In some countries, the checkout people are in a bubble, a plastic air bubble. With, like you would see in a lab with cutouts for their hands, then it's all airtight. So they don't come in contact with the customers. And they're ringing the customers, food items up. And they're in a bubble where they don't breathe their, contaminated air. That's how bad people are starting to respond to this. Greece, Italy, Spain, Germany, Sweden, all these countries are now reporting it. And it's scary. Our president said it was only a couple. Well, it's more than a couple in our country. I think it's like 80 or 90 so far. And
and you're right. You're absolutely right. And the thing is, that number has went up within the last month from remember when I reported there was 5, then it went up to 10, and now, we're well over whatever you just said, 9 or 8 or whatever.
No, it's like 80 or 90.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Big difference. Okay. And the president said it was only a small number. Well, that's not a small number. He was saying I think it was 5 or 10 or 15 or something like that. When reality is, it's up around 80, 90, and it's growing every day. Now, I don't know. We have no vaccine for it. The Center of Disease says it could take a year or so. There is a company in, I think, Sweden that says they can maybe do it, or Israel. Israel says that they are working on it and trying to come out with a antidote for it, a vaccine, in the next couple of weeks. Here's the other thing. Even our president and our vice president says we don't know if the vaccine will be affordable to all Americans. Now, what's that tell you?
Yeah. And what is also, there's a hidden agenda, a hidden underlining there. With that saying that it might not be affordable to everybody, he's also saying there might not be enough for everybody as well.
Well, yeah, also, they wouldn't say what it was today, but I was reading from CNN that the Center of Disease said there's one medicine they use for treating this. It's not a cure, but they use it for treating, and it's in very short supply. So that's scary. So, and they also said, the Center of Disease said that the hospitals are not prepared, the workers aren't prepared, they're not trained for this. So if all of a sudden it does, as Bill Gates says, and some other people say, it becomes a it could really, I'll tell you what, it could be scary. You go back to the American Spanish flu, you go to, back in, I think, 1900s. If you go and look at some of these pandemics that happened, it was like that one hit our country at the turn of the century. It killed around 50 million or 50,000? I can't remember what it was. It
was millions.
50 million Americans died from it. That is scary. That is really scary.
That is scary. That's a lot of people. And the thing is, you kind of touched on it there lightly. If it takes off all at once and there's an influx of sick people, you're right. The hospitals and these stat cares, they'll be overrun with patients. And then, here's the thing. A lot of doctors and nurses, not everybody thinks they might be scared to go to work.
Oh, yeah. And that is so true. And what scares me is they don't have enough testing kits. Some of the testing kits they do have are defective, so they're trying to replace those. They don't even have enough, you ready for this, face masks in the country if there is a major outbreak. Now, I'm not saying there's going to be one because we don't know. But anyway, moving away from this, the oldest inmate held in prison anywhere in the United States died. He was sentenced and indicted and locked up in 1950. He died at 102 years old.
Wow. I'll tell you what, that guy must have did something serious for for him to not to let him go for old age or being sick or anything. So he must have been a bad person.
Okay, actually, 103. He was a mobster.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, well, there you go. That was why they listen. When they wanted to make an example of him, they did. Obviously, he was 100 and some years old. Wow,
that's a long time to 50. You know how many years that was in prison, and to being 103 years old in prison.
60. Yeah, it's like 60. Yeah, 60 years. If he would have 1950, that's what 60 years. Or no, that's 70 years. That's 70 years in prison. Lordy.
Close to it. I was born in 52, and I'm 68, so that would put him at, about 65 years in prison.
Oh, he went in 55? 1955?
1950.
Oh, no, well, that'd be 70 years if he just died.
Yeah, you're right. Right. Yeah, 70 years. Well, you know what? A surfer went surfing, and a great white shark started attacking him.
Wow.
With no any protection, no anything, he punched the great white, and it took off.
He must have hit it in the right spot because those things, their skin is so tough and thick, I don't even think they could feel it if you hit them. Maybe he got it right in the eye, but that guy's lucky. You ever see some of the surfboards that got a big old bite taken out of them, or some of the surfers that lose a leg? He is lucky.
Or lose the whole bottom of their body. Yeah, I've seen some of those. It was, horrible. And, those are big sharks. And they'll eat anything, including themselves. In fact, all sharks will eat themselves. I mean, their friend, their other cohorts.
You're absolutely correct. And that's the thing about sharks. They don't have hands to pick something maybe or a tongue to taste it. They have one thing, a mouth. So that's how they try everything. Just take a bite. If it tastes good, finish eating it. If not, move on to the next.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, it only takes one bite to wreck your day.
Well, I want to go back to this virus that's going around. Please, people, wash your hands often. If you have hand sanitizer, make sure it has at least 60% alcohol in it to kill, the bacteria. But wash your hands frequently. What I'm more worried about, I was telling my wife this last night, I'm scared to death going to get any food now from fast food restaurants or anything, because you could have a cook in there, or the burger maker in there, or the guys doing the french fries, or the clerk, or the person that's wrapping up your stuff and putting in the bag. They might have a cold. Well, it turns out maybe they had could have the virus. So I don't know. This is where I think it's going to affect our economy really fast.
Yeah, you bring up a good point about the fast food thing. Absolutely. Even grocery stores. I mean, it's wherever there's crowds. There's always crowds in and out all day long in grocery stores, and it's in a confined area, so it's something to think about.
Well, if it was me, before I open up the package, like canned vegetables, frozen food that's wrapped on the outside, or anything, okay, I would rinse it off good under the sink, especially the cans and stuff like that, because people pick up cans in the grocery store, look at it, and put it back down, don't they? Oh, yeah. Hey, I look, well, what's the ingredients? I don't want that one. Well, let's find one that's a little bit, so they're touching these canned goods. So, plus the stalker is putting it out there also. And you don't know how many people have touched that can of pork and beans. So,
and you know what else? Remember, a month ago or so, it was this fad. Everybody was going in these stores, filming herself licking ice cream and other stuff. Remember that?
You shouldn't even be saying that, because you know what? You just now probably gave some people some ideas again. Okay, if I get on my front door at the studio, and somebody says, "Why did somebody mention that?" I'm going to blame you on that one. Don't say that. You're just giving. Yeah, I know it was all over, but you might give people ideas. You don't want to do that.
Let's retract that.
Okay. Well, if you do, you go out and be the tester.